Okay, let's get going. All right, I was going to start off tonight's call with announcements because we have so many exciting things going on for the team with contests and things coming up in September with challenges for our prospective customers and for ourselves. But I'm too excited to not start off with the model. So that's what we're going to do. If you are new to the model, I've done a couple of live videos about it, and I'm going to show you how the model works and how it is literally changing my life and the lives of my people in my house. Here you go. Shut that door for me. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to show you the model, but let me start by asking you this question. Do you know that you do not, hey Libby, thanks for joining us. We just started. I started a little bit late. Do you know that you do not have to think thoughts that bring you pain? Like, I didn't know that I had a choice for a long, I mean, no one ever told me I had a choice, right? I know that sounds really silly and simplistic, but you do not have to think thoughts that bring you pain. So why would you use this model? Well, because it can change your life completely and permanently. So my thoughts were and still can be painful, but I didn't know this. I didn't know it was my thoughts. I thought it was my life, my circumstances that was causing me pain. I didn't see that I needed to change my thoughts in order to change my results. I thought that I needed to change my life. And I could go into all kinds of examples of how that's true, but I'm going to demonstrate it with an example, okay? So first off, though, I want to tell you, I'm going to read something real quick. When you think a thought, it makes you have a feeling. And when you feel a feeling, you take action or not because of how you feel. Your actions and behaviors create your experience in the world and ultimately determine what your life looks like. If your thoughts suck, that's her words, not mine, your life is going to suck. If you aren't conscious of your negative thoughts, you are enslaved by them. I call this the spin cycle as depicted in the diagram. So she has a diagram that shows the perpetual cycle of thinking negatively. Okay, so I want to give you an example of how this works. This is a very easy example to understand, and I'm going to write it on my little whiteboard here. Okay, if I can get all my stuff together. So behind me, do you see I've added to my wall? And everything's backwards. It's hard to tell. Why is that? Okay, so this is what the model looks like. I'll back up and all that, but this is what you do. This is how you practice changing your thoughts to change your results. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because a lot of times we aren't getting the results we want in our business, and you can always tie the results back to your thought, okay, not your circumstance. So this is the model for every scenario. Okay, so I'm gonna stand back. So C is for circumstance, T is for thought, F is for feeling, A is for action, and R is for result. Is that backwards, Melissa? Really? It's not backwards? Oh, it is on my screen. Okay, so here's the example. This lady was pissed, right? Her husband forgot her birthday. They made it all the way through the day, and he never said a word about it. So the circumstances, and she was mad, right? I mean, wouldn't you be? Come on, get your act together, husband. So the circumstance is my husband forgot my birthday. Okay? And her involuntary thought is, what would you think? He doesn't care about me, right? He doesn't care about me. And how does this make her feel? Well, it made this particular lady feel horrible, sad, lonely, angry. Okay, and her action as a result was that she gave him the cold shoulder, right? The cold, I needed this on the board. I have it set up in the other room, but everything's backwards. I got to figure all that stuff out. And the result was she spent less time with her husband and she had a crappy birthday. Okay. Now, does this result, is this what she wants? Does she want to spend less time with her husband, who she loves? And does she want to feel crappy? No, right? So, can she change this? Well, she sort of can, because she can remind him that it's her birthday. But normally you cannot change you can change your circumstance, but the idea is to not change your circumstance. Like if you are fed up in your marriage, don't get a divorce. Try to change your thoughts, because your thought is tied to your result, not your circumstance. Okay? That's why so often people have one failed marriage after another, because they just keep repeating the same mistakes, right? Because their thoughts don't change. Their circumstance, yeah, they have a different guy, but their thoughts don't change about marriage and commitment and love and all that stuff. Okay, so now let's do the model where she takes a step back from the situation and she thinks, I don't want those results, so I'm going to change my thought. Now, when you change your thought about something, the thought that you change to still needs to be true. Like it just can't be ridiculously false, okay? And I could probably come up with some examples of ridiculously false examples, but let's just keep going with this one. So the circumstance always remains the same. My husband forgot my birthday. And how about she changes her thought to, I know my husband loves me and wants to celebrate with me, so I will remind him. Husband loves me, I will remind him. Okay? Instead of indulging in this thought that makes her miserable, which in turn will make him miserable, she's going to kind of be the bigger person and have a more positive thought about it. Okay, so she's going to change her thought to husband loves me and I will remind him. The feeling becomes satisfied and love. Okay, can you see that? And then the action is she connects with her husband. She probably makes him feel like she's probably sweet to him because she was nice about it. She wasn't being bitchy about him forgetting her husband. So she connects with her husband and she loves him unconditionally. And then what happens? She enjoyed her birthday. Now, enjoyed her day. Now, isn't this a result that she would prefer? Like just commonsensical, right? You want to enjoy your birthday. But so many times when we're programmed to think negatively, we wallow in self-pity and anger. And since I've been doing this program, I have found myself feeling negative, thinking negative thoughts and wanting to stay with them instead of change them, because I feel entitled to that anger. Like I deserve to be angry about the situation, so I'm going to continue to think negatively. But as soon as I do this, because eventually I come to my senses and realize this isn't the result I want. I don't want an unhappy home. I don't want to be fighting with my 13-year-old son. So I change the result and then I work backwards. It's almost like a puzzle. And I change the thought to something that I can live with, that's true to me, but that's positive and has a positive result. Okay, so let me get into how this applies to us with plexus. Okay, so I gotta turn on the fan because I'm dying of heat. Okay, so we had an epic sip and see, right, Melissa? We wanted 75 people. Yeah. We wanted it to be epic. And guess what? It wasn't. So this example is for our dear friend Cindy, who is is frustrated. She's frustrated. That is her feeling, frustration. So the circumstance was epic sippancy, not quite so epic, but this is a fact. If I say the circumstance is poor turnout, that's not a fact, because that's my judgment. That's my judgment of the situation. Okay. The fact was that we had 10 people, and that included like 5 ambassadors. Right? Okay. We had 10 people. So my thought, my unintentional thought was poor turnout. Okay. My feeling, and I'm sure this is Cindy and Melissa's feeling as well, although we had success, don't get me wrong, it was mildly successful. It wasn't what we were hoping for. My feeling was frustration. Okay. Now, if I wasn't, I used to call this being a professional. If I wasn't a professional Plexus ambassador, my action might be to stop trying. This probably doesn't help you all looking at this, that I'm waving this whole thing around like this. I really need to get it stationary. Okay, so if my action is to stop trying, what will my result be? Because this doesn't feel good, right? It doesn't feel good. It's not fun. It's disappointing. My result will be no growth. Okay? That's about right? Okay, now let's do the model with an intentional thought process. I'm going to take the negative out of it. I'm going to change my thought to something that is true but positive and something that I can live with. Okay? Circumstance remains the same. We had 10 people. The thought that I had was perhaps in-person live events are not the best way to reach people these days. They're too busy. They don't want to come. They might be interested in the Plexus, but they're too busy. So not the best format. And in my business, which is pretty successful, it's a business, I have tried so many different things, and some things fall flat and some things are successful. So what if my thought about this was it just is not the best format, especially on a Friday night? You know, it's football season, all kinds of things, all kinds of reasons why people couldn't come. So how does that change the way I feel about this? Does it make me feel so frustrated I want to quit? Or does it make me curious and thoughtful to maybe what are some other ways that we can share information about Plexus? So if I'm curious and thoughtful, what will my action be? Well, instead of stop trying, my action will be to ask around to other people who are having success, try other ways, and do some research. Doesn't that sound better than giving up? Okay, and then the result will be I will be one step closer to success. Okay, much different result than if my thought was, this is terrible. This is a terrible turnout for all the effort we put into it. Much different result. Okay. So how do you practice the model on your own? And I will tell you that all it takes is a little slip of paper to practice this model. If you are feeling any negativity in your life, you can use this and turn your thoughts around, and then you might become aware of it after the fact. And then as your positivity muscle gets stronger, you'll start seeing yourself within the situation, and then you can go so far as to prevent it from happening before it even happens. Okay, so let's talk about how you practice the model on your own. So what you want to say is, what is your current problem?
Kristen.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to go back to the model again. because I know we did feel frustrated, especially in the beginning when they took our room and we had the situation that we had.
Yeah.
Out of our 5 guests, we have one that signed on that night. We have, I have somebody who is signing on this week, and I have another person who's signing on as a preferred customer. So that's 3 out of 5 people already that we know of, and so based on the turnout we had, that's almost 100% participation, especially because it seems like the other people were also interested. So that actually could end up being, close to, not because Mincy's not, but close to 100% participation as far as sign up goes, or sign up for ambassador or preferred customer.
Absolutely. That's such a good point. And another way to reaffirm the positive about it. And I've always known the struggle is in getting people there. Once you get them there, the information is fantastic. I mean, it's undeniable. And even like Monica's mom, she was a guest. She's doing something. I think she's starting with either, I don't know what she's doing, but she's doing something. She's going for the Ease products. And like you said, everyone there was interested by the time it was over.
And I guess I'll look at it too. We've had Sip and Seas before, and we could have 10 people or 8, and if nobody signs up, or one person signs up, or we've actually had more than 8 before and no one signed up. So if you look at it that way, and that's what I've been trying to do since Friday night. If you look at it that way, it just kind of makes you feel better that, okay, we had 5 guests, we had 5 of us, 5 guests. And then out of those 5, potentially we're going to end up having probably 4 of them either join or become preferred customers. And that hasn't been the case, with every one of them, or not, every Sip and Say that we've had.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. This model is just to help you get out of that negative mindset. Like, I will find myself with all this chatter going on in my brain when something is bothering me, and it seems it's very unorganized or disorganized chatter. There's all kinds of thoughts, and I can't make sense of it, and sometimes I feel paralyzed with not fear, but paralyzed with, I don't know which direction to take because it's just too much noise going on in my head. So, but when I sit down, and I'm telling you, I've done like 50 of these things, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, she wants me doing these every single day, which I probably have done more than every single day. But if I get out of bed, because that's usually when my mind races, I get out of bed, I sit down and I map out the unintentional model. And then I fill in the blanks with what I want my result to be. So if I have a disagreement with a family member or a friend, what is the result? Like, what are my thoughts about the situation? Like, maybe I can't trust her or whatever. And then the results are that I pull away and we don't have a good relationship. Well, I can so easily turn that around and think something positive and have completely different results. So it's just such a great tool to help those of us who struggle with seeing the bright side and not getting derailed by the bad side, the dark side. So how do you practice the model on your own? First of all, you identify what your current problem is. So I want you to think for a minute, what is a problem that you're dealing with? And I would love for one of you to volunteer just an example problem. Like, it could be anything with your kids or a thought that you have about anything. Anything. It could be anything. And then what we do is we decide whether it's a thought, a feeling, a circumstance, an action, or a result, and we put it into the model. And then from there, we fill in the rest of the diagram by asking ourselves questions. What is the thought that is causing me to feel that way, if it's a feeling that you have? How do I act when I feel this way? What is the ultimate result that occurs when I feel this way? Now, how does that result compare to what you want the result to be? And then work backwards to the thought, a truthful thought that you need to think in order to have the desired results. And then you just simply change your mind and think that thought instead. I mean, it's completely optional. And if your thoughts don't serve you well, like the other day, I was so mad because one of my kids lied to me. And then some, and then something else happened and something else happened. And I could not climb out of the negativity. I was like stuck there. I was mad. And that's when I was telling you, I felt like I deserved to be mad. They did something that would cause me to be mad. So I deserved to have that feeling of mad. I didn't want to be not mad. But then I decided this isn't getting me anywhere where I want to be. So we turned it around and we did the model with the kid who lied. And we wrote out the circumstance and we did everything, the thought, the feeling, the action, the result. And if he wants to have a relationship with us where we trust him, he needs to think something positive about our relationship, not like my parents are the enemy or I don't want to tell my parents anything. You know what I mean? He needs to think, if I have an open, honest relationship with my parents, I'm going to have freedom. That's going to make me feel confident. And, we just use the model and it works. It works so well. So does anyone have a negative thought or feeling or what they think might be a circumstance that I can put into the model? Hello. Throw me one. I'm going to unmute Libby. Libby, what's a problem that you have?
I have lots of problems.
All right, throw one at me. Throw one at me.
All right, I sold my house on Friday, and I have to find a place to live. We have 8 weeks, and I'm going back to work next week, so that's my problem. It's chaos. There's not enough time. There's not enough anything.
Okay, so let's map that out, okay? Circumstances, you have to move, right? That's without a doubt. Somebody else is going to be moving into your house. You're not going to cohabitate with them. Have to move. Your thought is chaos and too much to do. You can't handle it, right?
Right.
And you might even feel, your feeling then would be overwhelm. Right? Overwhelm.
Right.
And so what happens to you? What action do you take or what action do you not take when you're overwhelmed?
I feel like I'm just
like you don't know where to
shut down. I shut down, I think. Or I tell everybody everything. It goes either way.
You shut down and you like you spill your guts, right?
Yes.
Okay. And what happens? What is the result that happens when you shut down and or spill your guts? That's really two different actions, but it's okay. We're going to lump them together. So what results do you have?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Because I haven't.
Right.
Nothing comes to that.
So, and also you might not be as productive, right? So you're not getting as much done as you need to.
Right.
Right? So
yeah.
Nothing, I'm going to put not
cutting out.
All right. So one of the things I've learned about this feeling of overwhelm, okay, is that the only way to handle feeling overwhelmed is to put constraints on your life. So just you have to let go of some things that aren't as important, and you have to put constraints, and then you just focus on those constraints, and then you're not worried about everything else that's over here. Okay, so that might be setting some goals for yourself. Okay, by next week, like map out the whole process and say, okay, by next week I need to have this done. And then constrain your energy to getting that done. And I know, look, trust me, we're mothers, we're wives, we have to keep up with everything. So it's hard to just focus on that particular objective without worrying about, or without not worrying about everything else that we have to worry about. But if you want your result to be like, what do you want your result to be? You want to be like, have a smooth 8 weeks, right? You want it to go, and you want everybody to kind of like be a well-oiled machine. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay, so you want it to be a smooth move. All right.
Yes.
So if you want to be a smooth move and you know you have to move, then what do you have to think in order for that to happen? Put this down again. Okay. How about I can do this?
I have to be positive and think everything will.
I can do this, right? It's entirely possible.
Mm-hmm.
You have to remind yourself of that. What's the worst that can happen? Probably nothing terrible is going to happen that's going to derail you to the point where this, where you having to move is going to stop dead in its tracks. Now, if you tell yourself, I can do this, and I'm going to put some constraints on the process so that I don't feel overwhelmed, then what do you think your feeling would be about it?
Fine. Yeah.
Maybe confident? You think you'd have more confidence?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yes.
yeah, it's a lot, right?
Sorry, you keep cutting out, so I can't.
Oh, am I cutting out for everybody? Okay. All right. So you might have more confidence and more patience with the things that are going on around you, right? Okay. And then this is the magic part right here. This is what action are you going to take to connect this thought with this result? So the action, map it out and put those constraints on it. And really give yourself some timelines that are achievable. You can delegate out things that need to be done to your family members. You can sit down with your stakeholders, which are your family and maybe extended family that are going to help you, and just say, look, in order for us to have a smooth move, I really need your help, and here's what you can do to help me. Right? I mean, people love to help, especially moving. So don't be a martyr. Don't be
so hard.
I know. Tell me about it, right? Because we have a negative mindset. We want to feel like we're the victim, but you're not. You are the queen, and you are entirely capable of getting this done. And it's got to get done anyway, so you might as well do it smoothly and not miserable. Right. Because being miserable about it and being a martyr doesn't serve you at all.
It doesn't get anywhere.
Yeah. Okay.
It just makes it more miserable for everybody else, too.
Yeah. And, for some reason, I think that that's just my MO, that I have to be, in order to get out the door, I have to yell. But that's not true. It's not true. So practice it. When you're feeling overwhelmed, think, okay, I got to have some constraints on this because this is way too much for me to do by myself. And then map it out and map out over time what say, okay, 8 weeks from today, there's going to be nothing left in this house. How are we going to get that done?
Kristen?
Yes.
I have one.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I hope that helps. And I hope you could understand me because I know I'm cutting out. Okay.
Why is it cutting out?
Good luck, Libby.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Melissa.
Okay. I had to wait till my little ones went to bed. Mine is Leaders Retreat. And, I had 2 huge goals to meet this month, and I'm excited to say I know for sure I'm going to reach one of them, which is really exciting. But, I've gone back and forth with this. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this no matter what. In the last few days, I've kind of pulled back because I don't want to stress myself out. You know how I get anxious about it if it's not going to happen. I just kind of want to move on and focus on something that I know I can do. But then I think to myself, that's not who I am. I always try to do something that's, hard or challenging or, and I've overcome a lot of things, and I'm not a quitter. Mm-hmm. So then I look at it and I'm like, okay, I know for sure I'm going to have 605 points at the minimum. Mm-hmm. And that means I need 170 at the minimum. Mm-hmm. Now, realistically, there are 3 days left for me to do this. And it's a pretty lofty goal. I think it's possible, but highly unlikely. But it's like, I don't want to give up. And I had an idea of what I could do. I was going to ask you about two like bold things I could do. One is to do a flyer to put in the teacher's lounge that I'm doing my own special for 25. I might, what the heck, 30% off the triplex or slim. I was going to pass them out to the mailboxes, but if I stick it up in the teacher's lounge, because a friend of mine could do that, she's the guidance counselor, that could get the word out to the school. Okay, so I thought about doing that, which I was going to work on tonight. It's like a last-ditch effort. Mm-hmm. The other thing I wanted to do, and it's probably not, okay to do this, but I was going to ask you. I have seen, in fact, there's one person who has done this, who is Jewel, and she actually, because I started looking at her post to kind of get some ideas of some things that, as we all do, and she actually posted a post that said, it was last month, it said 40% off triplex, and I thought, oh my goodness, I don't think we can do that, and I still don't think we can. I don't know, maybe we can, but I thought about doing something like that on my Facebook page to announce, to reach more people, but the problem is I can't do a promo code because I don't have any money in my Plexus Pay portal. So I can do all this locally, or I can mail a check, but that seems so kind of weird, like hokey sort of almost. Like I did a special with somebody Friday, and I was like, okay, it's 25% off back to school special. Well, what I had to do is she ordered the triplex, and then I gave her cash. I just felt weird about it, but I know that's what we do. Like if we're going to refund someone's sign-up fee, we're going to write them a check, and we're going to give them $34.95. And that's fine, but like realistically, I don't know how I would do that if they're not local. And it just, I don't know. I just would feel better if there's some way to do it another way, I guess.
Yeah.
Or what are your thoughts? Because I really think if I could do those things, I might have a chance of doing it. But anyway, I thought maybe with your model, maybe you could help me.
Yeah. Well, the model, you're already thinking positive. Okay. So you're thinking, yeah. So let's just do the model, and then I'm going to show you where those pieces will fit in. So this is Leaders Retreat up here. And your thoughts.
What do you think about it, though? Do you think it's even possible? I mean, what are your thoughts about all of this?
Well, I had a similar situation. Mine wasn't a finite, event that I was trying to earn like Leaders Retreat, but mine was more of growing at a steady pace and reaching Emerald, and that totally hasn't happened. And it seems, this is a thought though, it seems like that's out of my control, because we can't control what everybody on our team does, right? So I could beat myself up about it and have terrible negative thoughts about the fact that, have stayed about the same for the past year, or I could think positive thoughts about it. Like it's a great paycheck regardless of what my rank is, things like that. So to get 17 new customers in 3 days is a huge accomplishment. It can be done, but it's like you're not going to shower, you're not going to see the light of day, you're going to, you're going to be on the phone working it from now until I don't
think I need to get 17 customers though, because
you need 170 points.
Yeah, but I need to get, I get 10 points for every preferred customer too. You see what I'm saying? So I get 10
so you're gonna get it. So so let's map that out. So you need 170 points. So how many new customers do you think you need?
I'm not sure. That's what I'm wondering. If everybody gets a triplex, then that's what 119 PV, I believe it is. We get 119 PV for every triplex, for example, customer. So I'm trying to break it down and simplify it. Okay, if I have, how many triplex customers do I need? I think it's like probably 10 maybe. And then when you look at it that way, it's like, wait a minute, this can be done. because you're also going to get 10 points for every preferred customer. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
So it's not just the PV points I'm going to get, but I'm going to get the preferred customer points.
Right. I see it. So you're killing two birds with one stone. You're building up your PV and you're getting new customers.
Right.
Well, let me do the math on it and let's talk about it. As soon as I get through the call stuff, then stay on and I'll stop recording and we can talk about it. Because I know there's people that want to watch this and we might be here a while. But yeah, I definitely, let's break it down. We'll just break it down. But your mind is in the right place. Your mind is in the right place. It's not like you're telling yourself, I can't do it. You totally, yeah. All right, let me do my announcements and then we'll come right back to that. Okay. Okay, so I want you all to see how you can use this model to just shift your thoughts and absolutely positively have a completely different result. But in summary, I want to just talk about what's going on with the team. Right now we have 2 contests that are in my page, on my team page. The first one is anybody can do it. Anybody on the whole team who all you have to do is have your convenience order turned on and have 100 PV and post on the post that talks about the contest. From this contest, you will be entered to win a bag of Slim and X Factor Plus. And I think there are a ton of people who qualify for this contest, and I think only like 6 or 7 have posted. So your chances of winning are very, very good. You have to take a screenshot of your green screen and comment the word qualified, and then you'll get an entry into the contest, okay? The second contest began today at 10:30 a.m. It's open to anyone on the team, no matter what level. If they had between 0 and 99 PV at 10:30 this morning and they commission qualify, which means they reach 100 PV by the end of the month, then they will get a free product from me. And that is their choice of a bottle of ProBio 5, X Factor, Ease, or Nerve. Okay, and so the hope is that we can use that contest to help people get commission qualified. Okay, and then those are the 2 contests going on. Of course, I think there's contests going on in other groups. I haven't looked, but definitely take a look at those. Okay, then we have the Momentum Makers group. That starts September 1st. Isn't that a Saturday? Is September 1st a Saturday? 28, 29, 33. No, it's Friday. So it starts on Friday. So this is how this works. Haley has renamed the Tapestry group the Good Vibe Tribe. And this is for working ambassadors who want support during their Plexus journey. All you have to do is ask to be added and you can be added. But within that group, you can go a step further and join Momentum Makers. The first ones, and there will be a Momentum Makers group each month. So once you start, you stay in the group that you started with. This group will require daily check-ins and daily completion of tasks, at least for the first 2 weeks. The tasks are not overwhelming or difficult, but in order to stay in the group and stay connected, it's important that you stay on track with the assignments. If you don't want to do that, then just don't join the group. Let's see. Okay, so what is it? What do you have to do to get in Momentum Makers? You have to have a minimum of 100 PV by the end of August, not including welcome packs. And you must have a proper convenience order on. Proper means that it has to be a minimum of 100 PV. And you have to have enough Plexus in your possession to have 3 7-day trials, because we're going to be using those within the group. Okay, that's it. And once you have those 3 things, you just comment on the Momentum Makers post inside the Good Vibe Tribe, and you'll be added to a whole nother group called Momentum Makers. Now that one's with Haley, which is going to be fantastic because she's adopting a format that another Diamond Ambassador is having huge success with. I don't know who the other Diamond Ambassador is, but Haley reached out to this girl and said, what are you doing to have so much momentum and, get the train moving? And so that's what she told her she did. within our team page, we are having a 2-a-day slim challenge that starts on September 10th. And in order to be included in this, you have to have 100 PV through your website before August 31st. Sound familiar? That's all you have to do for all of these things. And then by September 10th, you have to have enough slim at your house for 2 pink drinks a day for a full month. We're going to see what kind of results we can get on that. Now, I'm offering a $50 Amazon gift card to let's see, I think I'm drawing that. Let's see, when am I drawing that? Okay, on September 1st, I will draw for everyone who has entered by posting on that post on my team page. It gets confusing, I swear. So if you comment on the post on our team page that you have 100 PV and you want to be a part of the 2 Slim a Days challenge, you will be entered to win a $50 Amazon gift card, and that will take place September 1st. So get those entries in. So those are the announcements. I am going. Any questions about that kind of stuff or any clarification that you need?
Yes. Which post are we supposed to comment on? The gift card post that you did with the big Amazon, or the other post?
The other one. On the Amazon gift card post, I say, don't post on this post. Post on the one from August 26th.
26.
Because I wanted to keep it all in the same place.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah. And yeah, okay. So of course you can all, if you're going to be watching this video recorded, if you have a question, just send me a message and I'll help you out. Okay. That's all I have for tonight. Don't you love the model? Do you love the model? Oh my gosh. It's been amazing. It doesn't mean that you're suddenly going to be happy all the time. Because what Brooke teaches, I'll show you really quick. What Brooke teaches is, I'll do it in this little square so you can see. All right, so she says her hypothesis is that we are humans, and half of the time things are going to be good, and half of the time things are going to be not good. And the idea is to accept both sides, because if there's no contrast in your life, you don't know the difference between good and bad, right? If you're everything is a nirvana, you just don't know when things are good or bad. So, and this can be everything from like getting irritated because you stood in line too long, or the price of milk went up. Like, there's a lot of things that happen in our day-to-day life that don't make us feel especially happy. But then on the other hand, there are things that make us especially happy. But what happens is, too often we, especially women, start cutting into this side, and we don't like all this not good part, right? So we do something called buffering. And that's when we make ourselves feel good temporarily, because we don't like feeling bad, in the hopes that this pie chart will grow and we will feel good more often, like a longer percentage of the time. But what happens is this buffering is temporary, and it always comes with a negative consequence. And that could be eating too much food, overeating, eating in the closet. It can be over drinking. It can be gambling. It could be shopping. It could be tuning out and watching Netflix all the time. It could be anything you do to avoid feeling bad, feeling not good. Okay, so if you accept the hypothesis that life is going to be half good and half not good, and you deal with your emotions when it's not good, and you don't buffer, then you get more of your good time back. Because you're not, actually, these pie wedges are supposed to be over here, because you're not buffering and feeling bad about, okay, now I'm 100 pounds overweight. Now I drink too much wine. Now I have a house full of clothes that I bought that I didn't need, right? Because that makes you feel bad about yourself. So anyway, it's a really amazing concept that does take a lot more explanation than that. But okay, that's all I have. I'll stop talking, and I'm going to stop the recording. Libby, thanks for joining us. And I'm going to stop the recording, and